If the whole AI revolution is a gold rush, then one company isn't just selling the shovels and pickaxes, they're building the entire massive industrial-scale mining operation. And that company, of course, is NVIDIA. Their recent performance has been, well, nothing short of astonishing. So today, let's dig into the numbers, the vision, and the tech that's powering this absolute giant.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll kick things off with their staggering earnings report. Then, we'll get into the three big AI revolutions they're banking on. After that, we'll peek inside their AI factory, check out some potential risks and headwinds, and finally, try to figure out what's next for NVIDIA.
Okay, first up, a staggering earnings report. To really get a sense of what's going on here, you have to start with the money. And NVIDIA's latest numbers? Wow. They weren't just good, they were basically a flare sent up for the entire AI industry to see.
So, let's talk about the headline number. We're looking at $57 billion in revenue for 1 quarter. Just let that sink in. That's a 62% jump from the same time last year. Honestly, the speed of this growth is it's almost hard to wrap your head around.
And, well, this chart really shows you the market's reaction. Look at that. NVIDIA has been consistently blowing past what the analysts expected. And when you do that, you get a ton of investor confidence, which has sent its stock price on this just incredible climb.
So you got to ask, right? What's the engine behind all this? It's their data center business, plain and simple. It absolutely exploded. We're talking 66% growth year over year. That one division brought in $51 billion. Think about that. This isn't just another product line for them. It's literally becoming the foundation for the entire AI economy.
Okay, so we've seen the numbers. Now let's talk about the vision. Because numbers like these don't just happen by accident, right? They're the result of a huge, very specific plan laid out by NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang.
During their last earnings call, Jensen said something that really stuck out. He said, "We have created a whole new industry called AI factories." See, his argument is that this isn't just some tech boom. No, we are in a full-blown industrial revolution. And these AI factories he talks about, they're the new assembly lines. But instead of cars, they're cranking out intelligence. And here's the really crucial part of their whole strategy. NVIDIA sees itself right at the heart of 3 enormous shifts, all happening at the same time. First, you've got this move away from regular old CPUs to these specialized, super-fast GPUs. Second, there's generative AI, which is totally changing everything from search to, how we get recommendations. And third, this is the big one. You have agentic and physical AI. We're talking about everything from coding assistants to self-driving cars, stuff that will create brand new industries out of thin air.
So, we've covered the money and the vision. Now, let's get into the tech. Let's look under the hood and see what actually makes these AI factories run.
Okay, at the very, very center of NVIDIA's dominance is this thing called CUDA. And here's the key. It's not hardware. It's a software platform they've been building for something like 2 decades. The best way to think about it is like a special operating system, just for their GPUs. It lets developers get right down to the metal, unlocking all that processing power. And what that's done is create this massive ecosystem, a deep moat around their business that's super hard for anyone else to cross, because, well, everyone's already building on it.
And this just goes to show you how fast they're moving. Their latest platform, Blackwell, it's not just a little bit better than the last one. We're talking a 10 times leap in performance per watt. 10x. That is a game changer. It makes running these huge AI models so much cheaper and way more energy efficient.
And get this, they're not even taking a break. They've already announced the next platform, which is codenamed Rubin. It's already on the roadmap. This pace, this yearly cadence of huge performance jumps, that's a core part of their strategy to make sure nobody can catch up.
All right, but let's be real. No company, I don't care how dominant they are, has a totally clear road ahead. So even with all this incredible momentum, NVIDIA is staring down some pretty serious challenges.
And it's not just speculation. You see these risks highlighted in investment reports and even on their own earnings calls. First, you've got geopolitical stuff, especially the US-China trade restrictions. That's a big one. Then there's competition. Rivals like AMD and Intel are definitely trying to get a piece of this pie. And on top of all that, you've always got the bigger picture. Macroeconomic pressures, supply chain problems, any of that could throw a wrench in the works.
So where does that leave us? On one hand, you have this story of absolutely mind-blowing growth, and on the other, you have these very real risks. How do you put it all together? What's the big picture here? Well, despite all those headwinds we just talked about, if you look at what the analysts are projecting, the path forward still looks incredibly strong.
This chart basically shows that the people whose job it is to predict this stuff think their earnings are just going to keep climbing. The market seems to believe this growth story is far from over.
So really, it all boils down to two competing stories, right? You've got the bull case, which is pretty clear. The demand for AI is off the charts. They're the leaders in all these platform shifts. They have that software moat with CUDA, and they innovate at a crazy pace. But then you have the bear case, and it's just as real. You've got intense competition, all the US-China trade issues, and just general economic headwinds that could pop up.
And that brings us to the final big question. There's no doubt about it. NVIDIA is building the pipes, the roads, the entire infrastructure for the future of AI. But in a world with really tough competitors and all these global tensions, can their incredible reign actually last?